We just got done with another great interview with PGA Tour coach Drew Steckel, PGA and LPGA coach. Drew is, again, another great interview here. We talked about all his different patterns that he works with, all the different players like a Kevin Na, Jason Kokrak, Pat Perez, to name a few of his players. He is more than just a swing coach, though, as you're going to find out in this episode. Coaching the entire player with all different aspects of the game to make a champion is what Drew's about. Hope you enjoy this episode of JRL Golf Academy. All right, well, let's get started here. I am honored to have my good buddy here, top 100 teacher in the country and number one in your hearts, Mr. Scott Hamilton. Thanks, Scotty, for coming on the show, buddy.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Everybody, they're all excited to hear from you. I like doing these things, kind of get the backstory on people that we really know, but also get a little bit of insight in what you do. Obviously, you work with a ton of tour players, and that's kind of your world right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, this is the most I've been home probably since like 05, I guess. So it's different for me too. Like all my tour players are so bored, they don't know what to do with themselves. Like I talk to them all the time and they're calling me, and like Matt Every came up, spent a couple days with us last week, and Hudson came up for a day, and it's like it's kind of hard to work on stuff when you don't know when you're going to play again.
Yeah.
But also what's cool about it is like we did some bigger pivot changes on Matt Every just because we had time. I was always kind of afraid to do it before, and when you never get 4, 5, 6 weeks off, you're getting off in a row, so you can do some more drastic stuff if you need to.
Yeah. I mean, because you were really we were just getting into the meat of the season here, realistically.
Yeah, just getting heat. The season's so short now, like, we're just getting warmed up, so yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, does that kind of throw things, I don't know, does that really throw things off for you kind of going forward? Or I guess you get ahead with this more than anything, right?
I guess. I don't even know, man. I mean, nobody really knows how it's going to unfold. I guess all the other tours, and it's a trickle-down deal. I think that whatever the PGA Tour does, kind of everybody else is going to do. And, I mean, it's kind of up in the air on what they're going to do, So
yeah.
It's weird, and I get it where you don't want to practice 5 hours a day when you don't know where you're going to go next and play. Yeah,
I guess that net gets kind of boring after a while too, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a cool thing where you're at too. You got that whole station dialed in.
Yeah, I got a great indoor place that I have all my 3D like the gears in there and the swing cap place. And my little redneck club's still open and running. It's just, we're doing all the things everybody's doing. You can only one person per cart, unless you're family members, and
yeah.
And then, they're not taking the flags out. The flags are in there, but they put these things in so the ball doesn't go down in.
Okay.
And, they're wiping the carts down every time they come in. All the cart guys will walk around with the gloves on, and, it's kind of weird. The clubhouse, you can still go get your cocktail up there, but they got to hand it out the door,
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it looks like a surgeon handing you a drink out the door, vodka drink with a big rubber glove on it.
The White Claws, do they get served with a glove too?
They came out in the bag, bud.
Oh, okay.
You get them in a sack full, man.
Oh my God, that's the greatest. Hey, let me ask you this. Let's get a little background to you here, Scott. When did you take up the game?
I played as a kid. My mom played golf, and she I guess she's the one that really introduced me to it. Luckily I was raised in a little small town in southern Missouri, Carthage, and they had a municipal golf course, and it was super affordable.
Yeah.
Like, I think when I was a kid, it was $35 for my annual card that you could walk and play all you wanted. So, I played other sports too, but, once you kind of get high school level, then you kind of figure out, I'm 5 foot nothing and slow and can't jump high, and I can still kind of be competitive in this game,
I got you. What kind of sports you play growing up?
I played football and basketball and baseball. Whatever every little kid plays. It wasn't any good. It's just I'm in a little farm town where you think you're good because there's nobody else that's any good.
Yeah, I got you.
So it gives you confidence to play. But I played those, and then I think probably about in high school I got a little more serious. But junior golf was so different then. We had one little junior tournament in our town. Mostly you played either high school golf or you played like the little club events around the little. There were a bunch of municipal golf courses in my area, and they'd have little tournaments you could go play in. They'd put on for the kids and stuff,
Yeah, I got you.
Like your tour.
Yeah, we're trying to bring it to the masses. You know what I mean? They're coming. They're coming.
So good.
So yeah, man, we appreciate that.
And then after I got out of school and then trying to figure out what to do with myself, and I decided, I think I was probably about 23 or 4. Decided that I was going to get in the golf business. I went down to Hilton Head and got an assistant pro job at working for Sea Pines Plantation. I worked at one of their other courses first, and then I moved over to Harbor Town.
Oh, wow.
I worked there the bulk of the time for about 2 years. And I went over and worked as an assistant at Hague Point for about 2.5 years. That was back in the old school PGA.
Okay.
You just went and kind of got drunk at a hotel for a week and took a test.
Bring it back.
Like it should be.
Yeah, bring it back.
Cost you $250. I think I topped 5% score in the first one, so I got the second one for free. So it's not like it costs a fortune now.
It's no joke. Like, I'm actually thinking about joining it, but I'm like, man, that's gonna be about, I don't know, $10,000 to $12,000, and then my time away from the lesson tee, and I'm like, man.
I mean, that's super expensive, especially like to be able to give somebody a sleeve of golf balls or pull a golf cart out of a barn.
You need to go to school for that? I don't know, man.
You got to get deep academics for that business.
I love that.
Really, the golf pro, they kind of had it figured out. Like, I worked for, one guy I worked for, Keith Goodacre, was really good at his job. That's who I learned, how to run tournaments and all that stuff from. It wasn't from going to a class,
And that's really more so, we've talked at length before, but, you're like myself, and I kind of find a lot of similarities in you with what I'm doing. Is like, it was more from the hard knocks of golf life, right? Like, you learn from experience. It wasn't like it was laid out for you, okay, this, and this. It was, you made some mistakes probably, along the way?
Oh, yeah, hundreds. Like, I should refund all lessons before 1996 or something, But, and then I kind of, after I worked in Hilton Head, I got the head pro job up in Cartersville, Georgia, the same place I'm at now, same club, the only place I've ever been. And I just kind of evolved. I built a teaching bay like in probably 95, 96. The kids called it the shed because it was just cheaply constructed. But it was like inside hitting out. And that's kind of how I got going. I got a couple breaks. Like, I got Jason Bone helping him and helped him get out on tour. And then I had a relationship with the Cleveland golf guys where when they merged, they put the extra, when Cleveland Shrixon merged, they put the extra trailer at my place.
Okay.
And I had this influx of mini tour players getting fit for Cleveland clubs at the end of my range. And, I taught one tour guy, so I had a little bit of credibility. So that kind of, got me going.
I got you. So when you were talking about that, before 96, you should refund all the lessons, which he's not. I'm going to tell you all right now, he's not, okay? But just...
It's not that much. I think I'll charge $25 anyway, man.
So who were your early influencers in your teaching? And then what was sort of the, maybe an aha moment, kind of a turning point there after 96? What was that?
Really, it was I wasn't, so many guys like go work for some famous instructor, and I never did any of that, because I was the head pro at a country club. The biggest thing I did was I just gave, 1,500 hour lessons a year, every year for years. And just kind of, when you're working on the worst, working on tour players is not that difficult because they can actually do what you're telling them. When you're working on the worst players in the world, you can make them get it airborne. You're really doing a pretty good job. Like, I sit down and watch every once in a while my guy that works with me, Bill Hassel, and I'm like, wow, your job was way harder than mine, man. So, but, I always tell people the evolution of my teaching was, I got the indoor bay with 2 fixed cameras, and that was 2D. And that went on for a while. And then, you moved into TrackMan and you learned about club path. And you're like, oh, my God, how did I ever operate before I knew about angle of attack and club path and all that business? And then, then I got a pressure mat. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. And you kind of add that part to the pie. And then the best thing in the last bunch of years that I got was the 3D, that gears. And why it was so good for me is because I teach so many tour guys, and I'm friends with a bunch of tour players I don't even teach that I've done captures on.
Yeah.
And it just gives you the reality of what's going on, not what people think's happening, not like, you capture Boo Weekley, Chris Kirk, and Hudson Swafford, and Harold Varner, and Matt Every, and, all down the list. And the thing is, most tour guys do about the same thing. They just do different amounts of it, Like, I mean, kind of, that 3D has really changed a lot of what I've thought even, and that's Mike Granado, that he's has that website, Athletic Motion Golf. He helps me all the time with my gears captures. And I mean, it's nice to have somebody else in there to sit around and talk to about it, where there's two brains instead of one.
Yeah.
I mean, that 3D stuff has helped me help people so much faster than I used to, just because I kind of have an idea. Once you learn something, then you see it on a 2D video.
Yeah.
But until you learn a pattern, it doesn't mean anything to you. You're just like, man, the club's underneath. Well, yeah.
But why?
Yeah. As soon as you start, you're like, oh, okay, this is what all these guys do. And then you start seeing it. Then you have an answer to why it's, in the wrong place at the wrong time,
That's funny you say that, because a good buddy of mine, he was a few years ago, I kind of started diving more into looking at graphs. I got a KVS and stuff like that, but he was telling me the way he did it and I did it was we just study the graph, and then we would go look at a video, but we have to determine what's going on in that swing, what it would look like, and then we get a look at the video. And to your point, what you're saying is like you already had an idea, but when you all of a sudden see the 3D, and then okay, I know what that's going to look like, and that's got to be huge for you.
Oh yeah, it's just I think it's always like when I got the 3D, I had it about a year and a half, and I thought, man, I've spent like $50,000 on this thing, and I don't even know if it's that useful. But now that I've had it this long and captured that many people, it's super invaluable. Like I just can't. Like what the pelvis does, what the spine's doing for certain patterns, what the knees do, like the right arm lengthening out. Like there's so many things that, honestly, I was kind of wrong in what I thought until like I watch a guy like Boo and then Kirk or Will Claxton or Joe Durant, and they're literally all doing about the same thing. They just do different amounts, whether they're fade bias or draw bias, that type of pattern. But that's been the greatest thing for me in the last couple of years, honestly.
So there's a bunch of teachers in here, and obviously we're all big fans of yours. Is there any way that, or you mind talking about some of the similarities that you do see, say, in those gears that you're talking about?
Yeah. So here's what I know happens literally with almost everybody I've ever captured, unless they're messed up and they're struggling a bunch, is that both knees have similar flex at address. The pelvis is fairly level at address, and the spine is somewhere between 90 and 91 degrees. And I'm talking about a right-handed golfer here at the start.
Right.
Yeah. And then what happens is and guys do it different ways, but the golf club starts going back, and a lot of guys, like a guy like Boo or Harold or Matt Every, they lose flex in the right knee, and the left knee starts bending more, and the pelvis tilts, more of an angle.
So why don't you do that? You mind if I demonstrate what you're talking about there?
Yeah, no, have at it.
For some of the people there, and this is my getaway of getting a lesson from you real quick.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So you're talking about the pelvis. So you're talking about it being level.
Yeah.
And you're, to me, sort of like the master at all this pelvis work. I always go to you for this pelvis work stuff that you talk about, because you simplify it for me. And then I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that little training aid thing that you made with that weight. Am I good in there, Scotty?
Yeah, you're great, but stand face on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here's basically imagine you're Boo Weekley. He's standing over there, his spine's about 91 degrees. He's level. The knees are bent the same. When he starts swinging the club back, he loses about 6 degrees of flex in his right knee, and his left knee bends a lot more. So then that dowel rod, like you see, points downhill, okay?
Yep.
So then when he starts swinging the club out, about the time the left arm's parallel, so he starts swinging the club down, and the pelvis on an average slides forward about 4 inches, okay? And then right about there, it starts leveling out and then starts going up and to the left. And then there's a point when the grip pull the grip back up to about your waist. About right in there, normally, that's where the two knees swap. Like, before that, the right leg or the right knee is straighter than the left, and about there is where they cross over.
So it's where they square up back to, like, the target line.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they cross over, and then the left knee starts getting less flex, and the right knee starts getting more flex, and about left arm parallels in that area is about when all the right bend gets thrown in there for a shallower.
Okay, talking about this bend.
Yeah. About that time is about when a guy will jump from that 90-91 and run it up with an iron from 99 to 105. Driver,
Got it.
110. Fade guys 105 with a driver. So here's the big thing so let's talk about pivots and ball shape. So
love it.
A guy that's a fade bias guy like a Hudson Swafford, he'll swing it up there and he'll get target side with his spine maybe 4 or 5 degrees. So he'll go from 90 to like 85, leaning forward.
At the top.
Yeah. Kind of change of direction. And then when he cruises down in there, he'll throw that right bend in. But because he's starting from more of a target side position, he gets less right bend. It's just a timing thing.
Yeah. So it's like later too, right?
Makes him more fade bias, where you take somebody like Graham McDowell or somebody like that, and I have never captured Graham, but a guy that's a push draw guy like that, he's going to hang around 90, 91, 92, and then he's going to jump into more right bend, which is the shallow that makes him more end to out.
So more like this, Scotty?
Yeah.
So then Hudson would, at this same point here, would be more like this.
Guys, be way, by the time he got some right bend in there, it's way later because he started from a lean forward place. So he's just kind of using that spine tilt to determine when he puts the shallow in there and not add as much.
Yeah. That's
like one of the big. The other thing that I've really kind of been fascinated about, and this is, you always heard the touch your side with your right elbow business when you were a kid. Well, this girl, Joanna Clanton, or the LPGA lady that I helped, she had kind of a awesome looking, powerful golf swing, but the club blew way out to the right. She's right-handed, and it was too end out,
So too much like this.
Yeah. And kind of in tons of right bend. Well, so we get her in there and start looking at her right elbow, and this is where I got going on this, and she's helped me help a bunch of other people. But if you take anybody like Boo Weekley, Harold Varner, Matt Every, Peter Uline, all those guys, whatever their right elbow bend is at the top, so their shoulders all turn somewhere between 90 and 105.
Yeah.
But their right elbow bends never to 90 degrees. It's like somewhere between 72 to 85.
So more like this, right, Scotty? Instead of this, it's more like this. Yeah.
And Boo Weekley adds 1 more degree of bend in his elbow, and none of those other guys I mentioned add 1 more degree of bend on the downswing. They just straighten it out of there.
So you're saying, like, let's say they're at 72.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're working like 73, 74, 75, 76.
100%. It's just steady as it comes out of there. It's just steady and coming out and straightening. I didn't really know that. I thought that kind of, I'm a dumbass. I thought it kind of generated lag and all that if you bent that elbow and all that. But like you talk about Joanna, like, so she ran up there and she was like really wide, like 70. And then she, on the downswing, she bent it to 120.
Oh.
So then she jumps into a real hard right bend.
Yeah.
And then throws it out to the right. So, like, I've been doing tons of stuff where I work on even people that doesn't look bad, but like how you just said, it's like 72, 73, 74. Yeah. It needs to come out there systematically, each little bit another degree goes out, then like holding it like it's not bad at 72 or 85, and you hold it down to 85 at the last minute, and then you rocket it out there. Well, that makes an unstable club face also.
That is such a big nugget to everybody. Yeah. I want to stop right now and be like, ding, right there, dude. There's a nugget right there, guys. So, Scotty, I like to think about that as like, I don't know, if I measure the butt of the club to my right shoulder, whatever it is, let's just say that it's 25 inches, right? And I get to the top of my swing, and obviously that distance is shortened. Let's just say now it's like, let's just say it's 15 inches. Like, I want to get that thing back to 25. That's what you're talking about, right? Like at impact, I need to get that thing to lengthen out again, guys.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and keep bending it coming down. That's so huge.
Look at guys like Peter Uline's a great wedge player. You know, he came to me was just helping with the driving a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, the guy's a sick wedge player. And, I mean, that guy, just his arm comes out of there so beautifully. It straightens out. And, I mean, the people that do that, like, really control the distance and the spin on their golf ball.
That's
– you know, and as crazy as, like, Harold's golf swing, he's really wide like that.
Yeah.
He is fantastic at bringing his arm out there, just constant. Like, you can just watch it when you play that 3D. You can just watch that number click, 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 and just lengthen out in just a smooth pattern down to the ball.
So the whole transition, like you're saying, it's like it just keeps going one more degree.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Like every inch it moves, it's another degree, and it's just smooth.
That's awesome.
And that'll, you know, because I've had other people like, well, okay, this guy doesn't add more elbow bend, but he's got a real unstable club face. Well, that guy's like at 72, 72, 72, 72, and it gets down real low, and then bam, he throws it out of there. It's all of like a sudden blast with the right arm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's when you start seeing. I mean, I think of Mickelson a lot when I think of that. You know what I mean? The amount of it's his trail elbow stays so bent for so long, and at the bottom he's all trying to throw it out real quick, like a fire hose.
Yeah.
Man, that is a nugget. Would you say that's why, like, you know, historically we've always seen through his career, Steve Stricker was always so good with wedges?
I mean, the thing is, what's interesting about Strick is, you know, I remember watching Strick out on tour when he lost his card the first time. He had a way different golf swing.
Mm-hmm. A lot longer.
You always look at it and you're like, okay, just common sense wise, that thing looks like it'd work. You know, it's real wide and doesn't. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely what that guy did to himself.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. He just got real wide. And I've talked to him one time. He just said he just stood up there and swung it up there. And he's like, all right, I think I can control it from here, and then pushed his arm out. I was on the golf course with him this year at where we're in the desert. And he literally, man, his wedge play is unbelievable.
I watched him at Riviera this year, and it was I mean, I made it a point to go watch him because I don't know how many more times we're going to see him out here on the West Coast. But to this day, man, it's still good. It is still good.
He's a class human too. What a nice guy.
Yeah. Let's see this. Want to take some questions here, Scotty?
Sure, man. I might know the answer, and I might not.
Hey, we could just talk and pretend, right? Let's do this.
I see this one. It says, does any good player add just a little trail elbow bend in transition before? Yes, 100%.
A little bit of bend?
Just a little bit. They add 4 or 5 degrees. Yeah, absolutely. That was.
But you didn't see much. You didn't see much with people. I mean, how many people did you see that were like past 90 degrees?
There's a bunch, but they're struggle.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've got a bunch of them, but they don't hit it that good. You know, I mean, all of them. You know, here's what's weird too is like the more the right elbow is out wide, and you kind of use that as the brace, the more shoulder turn you get. So like the worst combination is the guy that you get him in on gears, and he turns his shoulders to 75 and bends his elbow to 120. That's the worst. The best is where they turn their shoulders to 115 or 20 and their elbow's 72. So that guy can get his arm out real front and fast of him. But like that, and that's the minute, what's interesting is you get them on the gears, and the minute you start widening the right elbow out and just kind of doing some kind of cruisy off speed, just like let's brace this and keep this wide. Well, then instantly their shoulder turn starts cranking up. They'll go from 75 to 95 to 100 like that.
That's the beauty.
Like that brace kind of pushes that shoulder back in place, you know?
There was a question here. You use swimmy drills for this? Like
I you know, I mean, I don't know what to, I don't know how to fix it really. I mean, I just tell people to get wide, and then I'll buy those blow up things and stick them on there, and just anything to give them a sense. It's you know, I bought one of those things, things you swing and it goes whack down there at the bottom, you know, where it's a speed training thing.
Oh yeah.
Hell, I don't know if that thing works or not, but I get them to sling it around, you know.
I've done this in my ghetto ways. Like, I know I'm switched around here, but that's really my left arm. I'll get a sleeve like this, and I'll get pulling on it. Right, this is extensor action. Get to the top and just keep pulling on that. and that keeps that right arm wide as well, and keeping that going through.
Yeah, Scott Stallings just said, I taped a water bottle with duct tape on his elbow one time at a tour event.
I think that went viral.
Yeah, that was just dumb. It worked a little bit, but I was afraid I was going to hurt his elbow.
This is the beauty of, you guys don't know Scott. He's just really down to earth, and he I think the way that he thinks, I'll be like, well, that was stupid. Why'd I do that? You know, but you know, like this guy, he might play this part, but there's a mad scientist behind this guy. Let's see here. Do any good players add just a little not weird? Best drill for getting the right arm straighter out of the top, you know, like what Scott said there.
What I do with people is I always revert back to lob wedges because it helps shallow a wedge out too. And I just get them in there, and I'll do a lot of pause drills and slow motion drills. And I'll just get them in there with the lob wedge and make them left arm parallel and real wide, and then just slowly push the right arm out and clip the ball off the turf.
Yeah,
and give them a feel like that. That's normally where I start, you know, every time.
And Scott, is it just me? But I mean, I've only got to watch you teach live one time, but it's never too complicated with you, is it? It's just here, do this one little thing, and you know, it's never complicated.
I always tell. You know, like I had a girl over the other day that's really good, and, you know, she had a bunch of complicated instruction. I'm like, less is more, man. She was like, should I keep my stats and do all this? I'm like, not to sound wrong. I'm like, hell no, man. Tell me what you do crappy.
Yeah, and start there.
Mean, you're a professional golfer, you play around a golf, you don't know you chipped it shitty. I mean, just say I'm chipping it shitty, and we'll go work on your chipping. Don't burn all your night up writing damn numbers down on a sheet, man.
I love Scotty.
Seems retarded.
I can hear you. I can listen to you all day, bro. What do you see in lead arm abduction on the downswing?
Is that where it goes more forward?
Yeah. Abduction is it's moving away, like you're abducting something, and then adduction's coming back in.
Best players in the world, I always jack those. I'm so dyslexic, man. Like words that are close like that.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I could never spell like were or where. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd have never got a job. But like the one, whatever it is where your arm goes like that.
Yeah.
Like, the best ball strikers add about 5. So if they start at 90 at touch, they're like 95. I don't, you know, I work on that a little bit with people just because I see, you know, it's one of those things that people that are good do.
Yeah.
But what I really want to do is when I get like a college girl in or something and she's back there and she's lost like 5 or 6 and her arm looks way pinned behind her. So I had a drill on my Instagram the other day, Maggie Ashmore, a girl I work on. She's got a pretty nice little golf swing, and that was kind of the last piece we were kind of working on. So I just, you know, those head covers they put over the alignment poles?
The skinnier ones. Yeah,
slick thing. I just had her stick that under her arm. I don't know if this works or not. This is just what we did. And I had her stick it under her armpit and then feel like she was trying to get that where it'd fall right about touch, like get my arm. And then I'll get people to, you know, like an alignment rod that's real light and just swing their left arm and try to speed that whole process up, you know. But
hey, Scotty, do you like this? I do that as well, but I'll get people and I'll get them on there. Let me ask, I'm curious about that because I'm always fiddling around with that thing. But I'll get people on their knees, right? And I've kind of got no other way but to hit that thing. I mean, if I got it pinned and I tilt back, I can never get there. And if anything else, I hit behind it.
Yeah, that seems awesome. I'll try that out. I mean, You're just looking for anybody to get you. I'm not ever trying to fix. Like I tell people all the time, man, especially when I was teaching younger people, you know, golf lessons are like guitar lessons. Like you're not going to come pay me $30 and leave here playing Stairway to Heaven, man. It's like I'm trying to give you an idea on what to work on to advance it over like a couple months. So anything I can do that gives them a feel that I think, you know, that's in the right direction. I mean, who knows how much of that crap really works? I mean, you know, if you're kind of a decent teacher, they show up like 3 months later and they're like, oh, wow, that's way better. Go back and look at one of their first videos. I mean, I've obviously told them something that's working here, you know.
I think a lot of people come back to you 3 months later and it looks a lot better. Mitch Winemaker says, with wide chest and short arms, will your right elbow be more bent at the top?
wide chest, short.
So, let's just like a stocky dude, right? And
yeah,
he's asking, is the right arm going to be more bent? Is it going to be more bent at the top because of that?
I mean, to be honest with you, I'd be guessing if I told you, but it seems like they would be. It's more if they bend it like less than 90 degrees and less, I really don't care. It's kind of how it comes out of there.
Okay.
That makes
that it
sense,
doesn't keep bending.
Yeah, it's more of whatever bend they get, and I've even had them up, higher than that. But it's more of like that they, especially somebody that's 90 plus, you want them to add more because you just don't have enough time on the downswing to get it back out of there. So that'd be my biggest thought on that. Not a very good answer. Sorry, man.
No,
I'll go find me a fat short arm guy and test him out and let you know.
I can find a few. I can get on there for you.
Hell, I can do it.
Scott Stalling says, I feel like you're talking about me.
Nah, man, that guy's
hey, Scott.
He run down there from Knoxville and get a lesson and run back home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that dude is the fittest dude on the tour. Scott Stalling. That's pretty awesome what you're doing with your workout stuff. And Richard Kim said, John is ghetto golf. Yes, I am. E Vice says, number one coach I like to drink beers with 100%. Is Scott Allen.
White gloves now, like I'm a little soft, man.
Paul Whaley says, I use the right angle for trail arm bend. That's cool. I think one of the things also with that trail arm bend is like you got to be careful with, like I like the noodles, but I'll even tell people, hey, man, I don't want you to touch the noodle, just to overtrain it. Because a lot of times.
That seems to me like a better way to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people will bend it.
Yeah.
They'll touch it and they'll look good on film, and then when you take it away, you're going to go to the top and you're going to look for it, Yeah. Exactly. Best drill for too much right side bend from James. I'd say that right side bend probably, Scott, like you're talking about, has overdoing bending of the trail arm.
I mean, there's so many things that cause right side bend, it could be a pelvis issue. Boy, that's a tough one. Like, guy's pelvis, spins out there too soon, or, too much right elbow bend. I mean, start in too much right bend right out of the gate. Like, the advantage of the easiest way to get rid of right bend is believe it or not, is kind of get a little target side so you stall it out. So it happens later and happens less,
Yeah. That'd be a good player pattern issue mainly, right? The right side bend. Too much. You're going to draw the ball too much and push it and all that stuff. Here's a great question. I really want to know about this. Golf Savant, thanks for the question. Talk about Boo's pattern. He hits it so good. We've all been a huge fan of Boo's. And he talk about that pattern?
I mean, it's really textbook. He's got a real strong grip. I always thought he had, and this is one thing with Boo, obviously I'll jump right in and start looking at all Boo stuff anytime I kind of get on something like this right arm. I would have thought he had, because he had all that kind of lag he has. A bunch of elbow bend, but he doesn't. When you get Boo on a pressure mat, Boo has zero horizontal and zero vertical. It is 100% torque. So that guy is spinning around in a super tight circle and lagging it with his wrist. He bends his arm. I mean, he's textbook. He starts out super neutral. Knee bends are identical. He loses 6 to 8 degrees of right knee bend. He shifts over on it. His pelvis moves forward 3.1 inches, I think.
Uh-huh.
And he spins wide open, and he hammers down on it. He hits push draws, but they're attack angle draws like. So on a TrackMan, he'd be like 8 down with like a -4 swing direction. So it'll look, to the naked eye on a video, it would look fade biased, but the truth of it, he's hitting down on it more and he's swinging it left, so he hits push draws with it down.
Uh-huh.
When he drives it really good, he's 2 down, and I've seen him hit it 5 down, with a driver. He very, very rarely ever hits up on a driver. Biggest challenge for him is that with modern equipment is his vertical swing plane's about 44 degrees. The drivers are too upright and they don't have enough spin on it for him.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll kind of, there's a couple guys on the TaylorMade van and some other vans that are pretty good about weighting them to move the CG around to make the drivers work better for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hates to practice chipping. Let me
ask you this, because I know he's got a strong grip. What's his weakness with chipping? Is it contact or hitting it soft enough? Or whatever? What do you figure he struggles with most?
I mean, he every shot he hits is kind of a grip forward lane. His bounce ain't never hit the ground, man. He's pretty good in the bunkers, and his biggest weakness, I mean, the way he does it, he's really good. But his biggest weakness with the short game is he thinks it's boring. He doesn't practice it. He wants to hit forearms and drivers.
Well, he's good at it.
I mean, it's what he does. It's what he is. I mean, I've had him putt good a few times. If he's 0 strokes gained, he top tens.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's just a freak of nature when it comes to ball striking. I mean, the guy thumps it, man.
How long you worked with him?
Huh?
How long you been working with him now?
2009 or 10, something like that.
Yeah. You got some good years with him.
Oh, he's the best. He's, he and like Stephen Bowditch, those guys I've taught a long time, and they're not on the road as much. Stephen's back out kind of doing the Corn Ferry thing this year after his back surgery.
Yeah.
And then Boo's kind of got some joint issues where he's got some swelling in his hands, so he's trying to get that cleaned up before he goes and plays anymore.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. You imagine if Boo chipped it like Bowditch?
Oh my God. It'd be unbelievable. It's funny, I just talked to Bowditch about 30 minutes ago on the phone. He's looking for a dog or something. He wanted to ask me about my dog. But I just sent him that last night. It was on Instagram on the PGA thing where he chipped across that bunker, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, it makes me nervous. I mean, that's all cool to do when you're drinking a 12-pack with your boys. But you got 2 grandstands full of people and you're going to nip one off a tour green. I mean, you got to have a big set to do that, man.
I'm sure he's got a big set, man. That dude.
Yeah, he ain't scared. I promise you that, man.
I remember I caddied on tour with Stads, and we got paired with him at Colonial, and we were paired also with Snedeker. And I always thought I was excited to see Snedeker chip the ball, and he goes, "Nah." He goes, "Put all your money on Bowditch." Yeah,
he's sick, dude.
Yeah, he is. I think he's not many people realize how good he is with the wedge.
Yeah, I mean, when he's got it going, he's such a great guy, man. He's helped so many of my players. I think
that's
Boo's
good to hear.
Frustrated him a few. He and Boo are like best buddies. I think Boo's frustrated him a few times whenever he's trying to help him with chipping.
Did you tell him misery loves company?
Yeah, 100%.
Paul Whalen.
Made for each other.
Paul Whalen had a good question here. On gears with good players, do you see an early slight pinning of the lead arm across the chest? It flies off the chest. Before it flies off the chest. So do you see a little bit of, I guess they talk about that as being a contralateral stretch?
I mean, a little bit. I don't think I've ever really studied that much. Yeah, I absolutely see some of that, but like a measurement or anything, it's not caught my rate. It doesn't mean that, like, now that he said that, I'll go in there and study the crap out of it, because I'm always looking for something I don't know. But I hadn't, what happens to me is I get something that helps somebody.
Yeah.
And then I get on it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure this out, and obviously I haven't needed that to fix anybody yet.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So it's probably not.
I have, and I didn't fix them. And I should have looked at that,
Right. I like that. Best drill. This is from USC Mex. Hi, Chewy. Best drill for overweight scratch Mexican who can't find his clubs at the moment.
I mean, he could get on the program I'm on. Like, I'm trying to get up every morning, walk 5 miles, run some of this gut off. So, I mean,
there you go. There you go, Chewy. There's an answer. I told you to have an answer. Jillian Hollis. Hey, Jillian.
How do you hear? You want to get her on?
Yeah, get her on there.
All right,
have her answer some questions. Let's have some questions for Jillian here. Jillian's a absolute beast of a player. How do you generate more club head speed? Asking for a friend. We're going to get I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you guys want to see this, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. It's a JRL Golf Academy. on YouTube. All my guests and interviews are on there.
You can't see my background.
Let's see.
Hey.
Hi, Jillian. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm jealous of you that you're hanging out with the man right there.
Yeah, we're having fun.
So there was some other girl, not you, but there was another Jillian Hollis asking for a friend. How do you generate more club head speed, Scott?
Oh, that was her. She was sitting on the couch jacking with me. So go ahead and answer your own question.
Yeah, Jillian. So what are you working on to get more club head speed?
Eating more.
I should be hitting at 400 right now.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
So Jillian was on her way to, she's a rookie this year on the LPGA.
Okay.
She was on her way to an event, so she was here a couple days, and we figured out this morning she came like March the 11th, and that's when like Armageddon hit and everything got canceled.
Yeah.
So she's been here ever since. We've just been working on her game, and you know we've got Gracie, so we love having her here.
Man, are you the lucky chosen one, Jillian?
Yeah, I'm feeling very lucky right now.
That's pretty cool. So what's going on with your LPGA plans this year? I mean, I know everything's sort of on hold, but you know, talk about sort of like did you get through Q school? Is that how you ended up getting your LPGA?
I did Q school 2 years ago, and then I played a year on the Symetra Tour last year and finished in the top 10. So I qualified that way.
Good for you.
That's the best way to do it, I think. You get the experience and you get full status for this year. I mean, we haven't played a whole lot of tournaments this year, but they just pushed our date back to middle of June. So who knows really when we're going to start again. Hopefully we can start in June. But, you know, I've never had this much time off during such a, like, nice weather time and time to work on my game. My off season, I usually just totally take off. So I feel like I'm going to be playing pretty good golf after this.
Yeah. How long you been working with Scott?
3-4 years.
Yeah. What were you, a sophomore or freshman?
Yeah, end of freshman year or sophomore year probably.
Sophomore year in college.
Yeah.
He was a bulldog.
A bulldog, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a normal result there. Hanging out with that guy, you kind of end up going for pretty good places, don't you?
Definitely.
So what could you let us know? And I'm just curious as a teacher, what are you working on?
Right now I'm always working on getting the club a little bit more out in front of me.
Okay.
And shortening my backswing.
Yeah. She's like, you know, typical fit young lady, super mobile, like. A lot of rotation, gets the club lost behind her sometimes.
Yeah. So
we've worked a bunch on like speeding it up, shorten it up, you know, so it doesn't run up there too far so she can get it back in front of her.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff, you know, we do like some right knee drills where she, you know, puts bend in there sooner, trying to give her a stop to her backswing and stuff like that. You know?
I gotcha. Yeah. Hey, that was a big thing that Scott came out here to LA a couple years ago at Lucy's place. And that was a big thing that you did with Wayne Tinney. I remember he had a big long run out backswing.
Yeah.
And you were the first person from my experience that I've seen that actually shortened up the backswing through the pressure using a swing cat. And can you talk about that a little bit? How you use like swing cat?
Yeah, I just had a lot more, like, I mean, anybody that's ever taught anybody stood around and had somebody with a bunch of runoff and they tell them to shorten it up and it looks pretty there in the bay, and then you watch them on the first tee and it's back hitting them in the left knee.
Yep.
So I just had way more luck with, like, when you add knee bend in the right knee, like, feel like you straighten and then add knee bend sooner to pull it out of there and straighten it and shift the pressure over sooner.
Yep.
I just had way more luck like that.
That was a nugget there, folks, and that was sort of one of my go-tos that I used, learned from you, Scott. That was a big one there. That was definitely a big one. Let's see here. This is great. Look, Paul. In transition, Scott, do you see the lead arm have a little? Oh no, we already went over that one. Boo, what's your preferred ball flight? With Boo, well, we already talked about that. That Boo hits a little draw.
Yeah.
Same thing with his driver. Will he cut it, or what's the deal with the driver?
Yeah, he can do whatever with it. But honestly, he hits it so straight with a driver, it's literally kind of a straight shot.
Yeah.
I think if you looked at the tilt of the axis on it, I think it'd be draw bias.
Yeah.
But they're straight, man.
I gotcha. Dragon Golf said, greatest chat I've seen so far. Look at that, Scotty. You got fans everywhere.
Yeah, there you go. I got Gracie in here now.
Hey, what's up, Gracie? How you doing? You taking her fishing yet, Scott?
Oh, yeah. She's a pro, bud.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She was golfing with us yesterday. We had her we were playing a big gambling game yesterday, and Gracie came out and jumped in.
Gracie, did you take some money from Dad?
Nope.
Kelly Hogue, this is for you, Jillian. Who's been your favorite player to play with on tour so far? Great question there, Kelly. All of them, right?
I have a lot. There's a lot of cool people out there. My best friend's Lauren Stevenson, so I had the most fun playing with her. I'd have to say I played with Arya Jutanyagarn in our first tournament of the year. I played with her on the weekend, so that was really cool. She doesn't even carry a driver. She just has a 3-wood or a 5-wood or whatever, and just like bombs it. I mean, she hits it so far. So it was cool to see that and to see her short game. She's been world #1 for a bunch of years. So
yeah, definitely
really cool to play with her.
That's cool. You picked up a lot of just a lot of knowledge just playing with them, I bet, right? Just kind of seeing how they go about things.
Definitely, yes. And I'm good friends with her caddy, so we had like a good time that day.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that's Tom's wife, Kelly, that's chiming in there.
So okay, yeah.
Tom Hogue, yeah.
Yeah, Hoagie's been killing it this year.
That guy's a legend, man. Like what? So here's my description of him. He's a straight shot with a complaint. That guy stripes it, and and I told him the other day, I said, I've never, ever taught anybody so emotionally attached to every single ball they hit. He can hit like 20 pretty good shots, and if he's hitting it really good, he'll look at you and go, that's okay, you know. And then he hits one offline, and he acts like he's going to break his club. I'm like, oh, my God, like that's the first one you hit offline like in 20 minutes. Like, what's wrong with you?
I'm glad you weren't out when I was playing.
Yeah, he's super, like, every shot he hits, he's into it. It tells you, like, how important that is. He's not messing around with hitting golf balls, man.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Here's a question for both of you.
He gets a golf course, he just grinds it out. You know, I mean, it's on the range is unbelievable. He gets triggered. He calls it getting triggered.
Triggered or on tilt. Here's a fun question from C. Allen 512. Scott's best barbecue spot on tour for Scott and Jillian. Name it.
Southern Soul.
Southern Soul, definitely.
Where's that?
St. Simon's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shout out to Southern Soul there. Let's go.
Gas station that's on the. It's right when you pull on the island. It's right up from the club, like one traffic circle. Can't miss it.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I think Davis Love's involved in it somewhere or another.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Anything to do with St. Simon's there, right?
Yeah, he's the king down there, man.
Man, that place looks beautiful. Your place looks beautiful, too, there. I guess they're asking some of these questions real quick. What's a good drill to feel that pressure shift and shorten the backswing?
Really, what I always tell people to do is just, once again, I always start with real lofted clubs. And I'll just kind of do a pattern where I'm like, all right, swing, kind of just feel like you straighten your right knee a little bit, and then don't let the club go up very far and super abbreviate it, and then start putting bend back in the right knee. But there's some other shifting parts that are important. You know, the step drill works pretty well. The one Mike uses a lot of time is he gets you to try to slide your left foot forward just a little bit the minute you take the club away. Not like you get the club going, then step, like that separation where this is going forward and the club's going.
Kind of like maybe like.
Yeah, like instantly, like faster than that. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one there, Scotty.
I always try to start my downswing earlier. Like when I get to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Isn't ever 9 o'clock. I just try to feel like I'm starting my downswing earlier.
That's so good right there. That's so good right there. I hope that was a M Mahoney there. That was for you. Okay, here's Paul. Do you see on swing catalysts many players lighten or lift the lead heel early on the takeaway so they have a place to shift out early?
Yeah, if we get somebody kind of heel stuck, we'll do that to them all the time. You know, like get out of that left heel so you can get back into it. Because if you're in it real late and then you're trying to get back out of it and back into it, then it's you just don't have enough time to do it.
Yep. Ho Golf. There he is. Pro, why do you break up teams for New Orleans?
Oh. Well, I'm a dick like that, bud. You know, my thought is if I got two guys I'm teaching that are on the same team and they win, I'm going to get more money.
Boom. There it is. That's all you need to know.
And they're both really good.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, I know I travel around the country because it seems really fun, but making cash is awesome too.
EVY says many great players get right elbow in front of the shirt seam at P5. Thoughts on this? So P5 when the lead arm is at left arm parallel. He's saying
they get what now?
Many great players get to the right. Hey, type that in again, Wise. Thoughts on this? I don't know.
Man, I'll be the first guy to tell you, I don't know a damn thing about the P's, bud. Like, I see that P crap all the time. Like, I was with, and if this is not the right way to be, this is just how I am. I forget who I was telling one of my players one time, they were peeing me up when I was in there. It doesn't mean shit to me. And I'm like, man, pee goes in the toilet, bud. I don't know shit about pee. I'm trying to get the ball to fly straight here, man.
Oh my God.
That doesn't mean it's the right way to be. I did get it, like that there are little areas you're supposed to be in.
Oh my God.
Probably my swing is I got too many P's in there. I got like P25 in mine, bud.
I'm done. I'm done. This is why, folks, I was so excited. You got to look at all the comments. They're all dying laughing. This is why I'm literally crying right now. This is why I couldn't wait to get Scott on. And I was just, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's one of my biggest arguments. I mean, you can't go do one of these education things where some guy asks me a bunch of shit I don't know, like anatomical terms and something deviation. I'm like, dude, man, my guys want the ball to land by the hole.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go in there and tell Boo Weekly that he's got 4 degrees of some word that he'd be looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Oh my God, that's one of the great. That's right up there with my line when I asked you one day. I go, what are you working with your tour players? Like, getting hit it closer to the hole.
Yeah, 100%.
I do whatever needs to be done.
I mean, especially a couple of them don't putt that good. We got to be real close to the hole.
Oh my God! Yeah, you've always been a great putter. I know. I talked to you about putting.
Yeah, I can putt, man.
And your response to me, I was dying laughing. Jillian, he goes. I go, hey, what do you think about putting? He's like, man, I never really thought about it too much because I'm a good putter. I don't get why people can't putt good.
It's so boring.
Right?
Thank God there's, like, putting coaches because it's so boring putting.
Yeah,
like,
I send mine out.
I want to see somebody hit it like 300, man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, going to a fireworks show and all you get sprinklers, man.
I'm not even going to lie to you, Scotty. I send all my putting stuff out to other people.
I'm with them. Thank God for those guys,
yeah.
man. They're saviors.
Shout out to Johnny Ortega here in Costa Mesa. I just send mine down to him, man.
No,
I just wonder. Hey, real quick, what do you do? What you know? You got your daughter there. Is she going to play golf? And like, what do you? What do you suggest? What do you what are you working on with her, like as she's developing and giving her maybe the best shot if one day she does decide to play at this game?
I mean, the thing with me is, like, I just want her to have fun doing it. So to me, it's, half of it is hitting it and half of it is getting to drive the golf cart. So,
yeah.
But she's just, like, the thing is, I tried to tell her one small little simple thing. Like, she got the swing going around her better. Now we're trying to square the club face up.
Yeah.
I mean, and just have fun doing it,
I love it.
It's funny, like, we have that PGA stuff out at our club, and I rode around with a 12-pack and watched her play the other day, like all good parents.
Yep.
And
right now.
And, these dads were so into it, and I'm like, man, who cares, dude? They're like this big. Like,
there's no.
Have fun with it, you know.
I tried.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I try to tell the parents on my tour, I'm like, hey, don't worry, there ain't no kids turning pro at 14. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're gonna be all right.
With it, man. It's not life and death. So you know, but she's a good listener, and you know, she's good at gymnastics, so it's kind of easy for her. So, and she's athletic like crazy. So you know, she was what we've been playing. Me and Jilly and her played backyard golf with wiffle balls around the pool the other night. And I mean, I think that helped her more than anything, just because she got out having fun and squaring the club face up, because kind of how the club goes around her now is okay, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, with that being said, there, Scotty, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank Jillian enough, and the little lovely lady behind you. I can't thank you enough, sweetie, for letting us steal Daddy for a little bit here. Hey, Scotty, if people want to hear from or find out more about you, what's your Instagram so people know?
Oh, it's Scott Hamilton Golf.
There you go.
Mine's just my name, Jillian Wallace.
Yeah, I started following you this morning.
In there. We got a contest going for $20. Who gets to 20,000 followers first? So whatever you do, get me before you do her.
Hey, I want in on that. I only got 500 or 2,200 people. So get me up. All right, Scotty. If anybody wants to watch this, it's going to be on my YouTube channel, JRL Golf Academy. Jillian, good luck to you the rest of your Scotty. I can't wait to talk to you again. And thank you so much for this. It was so much fun. Thanks, Scotty. All right, buddy.
Thanks for watching, everybody, the JRL Golf Academy. Please make sure to link and comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell for notifications. And we look forward to seeing you on the next JRL Golf Academy.